Ignored signs, lost lives, when warnings go unheeded. Welcome to Murder Mystery Vault. Before we start, I request you to please subscribe to our channel and share it with crime enthusiasts. In the quiet hours of the night, a young boy runs through the streets, desperate for help. His clothes are torn, his face is bruised, and his voice trembles as he pleads with strangers. But no one listens. They assume he is just another troubled teen, and they turn away. Hours later, he is dead, returned to his captor by authorities who failed to recognize the warning signs. This isn't just a tragic tale, it happened. It was one of many cases where red flags were ignored and lives were lost. Throughout history, victims and bystanders have spoken up, yet their voices were drowned in the noise of disbelief, negligence, and ignorance. Let's dive into stories of crimes that could have been prevented if only someone had paid attention. The Boy Who Could Have Lives, Jeffrey Dahmer's overlooked victim, 1991. On a fateful night in 1991, 14-year-old Konarek Synthesomphone stumbled out of Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment, bleeding and disoriented. Neighbors, recognizing something was wrong, called the police. However, when officers arrived, Dahmer spun a deceptive tale, convincing them that Konarek was his intoxicated boyfriend. Despite the boy's clear distress and the neighbors' protests, authorities returned him to Dahmer's custody. Hours later, the teenager was dead, another victim in Dahmer's gruesome spree. The officers' failure to investigate further allowed Dahmer to continue killing until his eventual arrest. What if the police had listened to the neighbors? A charming face that hid a dark soul. Ted Bundy's deceptive persona, 1974 to 1978. Ted Bundy was the embodiment of deception, handsome, intelligent, and charismatic. He used these traits to gain trust, feigning injury to lure women into helping him. Multiple witnesses recalled seeing a man in a fake cast asking for assistance near locations where women later disappeared. Some women reported feeling uneasy around him, but dismissed their instincts. Even after his first arrest, Bundy managed to escape twice, resuming his killing spree. Authorities underestimated the danger he posed, missing key opportunities to prevent further murders. How many lives could have been saved if people had trusted their gut feelings? The Doctor Who Preyed on Trust, Larry Nassar's Decades of Abuse, 1990s to 2016. For over 2 decades, Larry Nassar, a trusted sports doctor, abused hundreds of young female athletes under the guise of medical treatment. Many gymnasts spoke up about his inappropriate conduct, but their concerns were dismissed by coaches, school administrators, and even the authorities. Parents, trusting the system, believed him over their daughters. It wasn't until years later, when survivors united in their testimonies, that Nassar was finally exposed. The red flags had been numerous, yet institutions designed to protect young athletes failed them time and time again. Why do institutions protect predators instead of victims? The House of Horrors, the Turpin family's silent victims, 2018. For years, David and Louise Turpin subjected their 13 children to unimaginable abuse. They were starved, chained to their beds, and deprived of education. Neighbours occasionally saw the children, but their frail appearances were overlooked. When one child finally escaped in 2018 and contacted the police, initial skepticism nearly allowed the horror to continue. Upon entering the home, authorities found a nightmare that could have ended years earlier had someone acted on the warning signs. Why do we ignore signs of abuse happening right next door? The vanishing of Gabby Petito, a missed cry for help, 2021. During a cross-country trip with her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito exhibited visible signs of distress. Police body cam footage captured an encounter where Gabby was clearly upset, yet authorities dismissed it as a routine lovers' quarrel rather than a potential case of domestic violence. Witnesses reported seeing Brian acting aggressively, but no charges were filed. Days later, Gabby was murdered and Brian disappeared. The warning signs had been there all along, ignored until it was too late. Could an intervention have saved her life? A husband's deadly secret. The Chris Watts murder case, 2018. Shanann Watts sensed something was wrong in her marriage. Her husband Chris became distant, avoided conversations, and displayed erratic behavior. Friends warned her about his suspicious actions, but she held on to hope that their relationship could be saved. Chris, who was having an affair and struggling with financial issues, ultimately murdered Shanann and their 2 daughters. There were multiple red flags, ignored messages, deleted texts, his indifferent demeanor, yet no one foresaw the horrifying outcome. Why do we ignore changes in behavior until it's too late? A stalker's deadly obsession. The murder of Bianca Devins, 2019. Bianca Devins, an 18-year-old social media influencer, had a dedicated following, including Brandon Clark, a supposed friend who grew obsessively attached to her. His erratic behavior, cryptic social media posts, and controlling tendencies were clear warning signs. Friends cautioned Bianca about Clark's unhealthy obsession, but the true danger wasn't realized until it was too late. After an argument, Clark brutally murdered Bianca and posted images of her body online. The warnings had been there, but they were not taken seriously enough. How do we better recognize and act on stalking behaviors? The Rage of a Rejected Man. Elliot Rodger's Deadly Manifesto, 2014. Before Elliot Rodger carried out the 2014 Isla Vista massacre, he openly expressed violent fantasies online. He posted disturbing videos detailing his hatred for women and his desire for revenge. His parents, alarmed by his behavior, reported him to the police. But after a brief visit, authorities concluded that he wasn't a threat. His manifesto and online rants were dismissed as mere venting. Days later, he killed 6 people in a horrific act of violence. When does online hate speech become a real threat? A school shooter in the making, Nicholas Cruz's troubled past, 2018. Nicholas Cruz displayed countless warning signs before the deadly Parkland school shooting in 2018. He posted threats online stating his intent to attack a school. Teachers and classmates raised concerns about his violent outbursts. The FBI even received tips about him. Despite all this, Cruz was never stopped. On February 14, 2018, he followed through on his threats, killing 17 people. The warning signs had been undeniable, yet they were ignored by those with the power to intervene. How many red flags does it take before action is taken? A serial killer, hiding in plain sight, the Long Island murders, 2010 to 2023. Shannon Gilbert made a chilling 911 call, pleading for help while running through a Long Island neighborhood. She was dismissed as paranoid. Later, multiple bodies were discovered near the area where she disappeared. Investigators realized that a serial killer had been targeting women for years, yet authorities had overlooked the danger. Shannon's frantic call should have been a major red flag, but it was ignored until the grim reality came to light. What if someone had taken her call seriously? Why do we ignore red flags? Is it disbelief, fear, complacency? Time and again, history has shown us that ignoring red flags has dire consequences. Many of these crimes could have been prevented if someone had acted sooner. So, the next time your gut tells you something isn't right, listen. Report suspicious activity. Trust your instincts. It might just save a life. The cost of ignoring red flags is too high, and we cannot afford to keep paying it. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.